Good morning and welcome back to the Beef and Barnzy Show. This is the USBC Arsenals edition. As usual, I'm joined by internet personality and the talent of this show, Lean Beef Stew.
I'm about to blind myself and everybody else. Sorry. There we go. Back. Ready to go. So you're going to Nationals this week?
I am. We're going to South Dakota to do an appearance first with Linda, and then heading from there to Las Vegas to bowl with the Okies.
So is Linda making the trip with you?
She's not going to Vegas.
Man, she goes to all the nice places, South Dakota.
Yeah. Well,
she's been to Vegas a couple of times in her life.
A time or two, it turns out. So she's going to skip on that. That's part of being a foster failure, I believe, is part of the reason why that's happening. Because that giant mutt that you saw the other day, that's not very old, that's a permanent fixture now. So I lost the battle, as we all knew I would.
Is that different from Ryan's dog?
That's Ryan's dog.
Okay, so you just got I didn't know whether you'd got to a 4-bagger.
Oh, heaven help me! No 4-bagger.
You haven't quite got your own 5-man team of pets.
No, well, we do.
I thought you only had the one cat. Have you got 2 cats now?
We have 2 cats. We have one though that shows up less than Embiid. So
Yeah. Let's figure this out a little bit. So you're taking 6 with you?
I'm taking 6. I did end up sending out a spare ball, and so it leaves me with a little bit of a situation because urethane has been pretty good. It's been okay at the Open Championships, but it's been really good at some of the stuff around it, particularly the Bowler's Journal. So I set up 6 balls and I brought in here like 12, and I don't have a great space now to put it up like we did before. I had a bigger table. But the thing, like the ball that I've been having a lot of success here with lately is this Shiny Reality. Due to some of the people on the show here, is why I actually shined one and started using it and had a lot of success. But what it's really good for is getting through the front and evening out wet-dry down lane. So even though I bowled a lot of big scores with it, that's not really what Nationals turns into so much. And so likely it would just fly 10 a lot. It might be useful at the very end, but I have some other balls that probably would be too that have a better chance of being in play. So the balls like that kind of go away. And like I said, how I start all the time is with an earliest rolling ball and move down. I have a heavy control, a heavy angular, a medium control, a medium angular, and then a dry angular and a dry control / spare ball. In this case, I'm going to take both since the spare ball is actually still in Vegas. So my heavy control ball is going to be a UFO. And I'll have a lot more taller pins than most because the Arsenal's supposed to set up to fill in your weaknesses. My weakness is being able to get it to pick up, not so much to get it to keep coming around the corner. And so even though it's a little bit taller pin, for me, this core is gigantic. And so it doesn't have any problems picking up. And so it will be a first ball out of the bag in practice, out towards the gutter, and find out what's going on in the lane and how much hook and how much length the pattern is. My heavy angular ball will be a reality. So same kind of thing, actually very similar drill.
The shiny one, or is that the dull?
This is the duller one. This is the one that's 1,000. So this is my heavy angular ball. I think this has a pretty good chance of seeing the lane in team event from what I've seen early on. Kind of everybody's hero at the moment, that and the Zen. So this is the ball I think I can use probably fairly early and it can still shape. So I can chase that one left if I can get it through the front. And that will depend a little bit on how the team plays them and then, that day how much friction there is in the front of the lane. Probably not as much in the doubles and singles, where there seems to be a lot more friction in the front. And then I go to kind of my medium control ball. In this case, it's a phase 2. So each of these has a little different surface on them. The UFO has 500 on it, the Reality 1,000, the phase 2 2,000. Very similar drillings, as you can see, but as we go down, the UFO has the strongest cover along with the most surface. Reality is a little cleaner cover, a little less surface. Phase 2 is symmetrical, low RG, kind of everything about it. It lends to control, but because it's a storm ball, it still makes the corner pretty good down lane.
What were you saying the surface was on the phase 2?
2,000. And then everybody's All-American. And this ball has had a lot of success, it seems like, in the doubles and singles, and for some of the bigger-handed guys on the team, but a Zen. And
was that, do we call that medium angular ball?
Medium angular. So.
And then just box.
Yeah, this is box actually, and it's almost due for a little bit of a shine. It's got several games on it now. So as you and I have talked about it, when there's a phase 2 in play, we like it out of the box. That's where it really stands out as being pretty unique as a shiny ball that still really reads the middle well, and it makes the corner well. So that's where its strengths lie. From the dry angular side, right? I guess dry control is the next. And here I have a PBR. So both my dryer lane balls are going to be lower flare balls. This one has a little bit of surface on it, a lower pin, but yet still is a relatively much more controlled than, say, the Zens and some of those bigger core balls because of the lack of flare.
So what would you call that in your arsenal?
This would be dry control.
And then service?
It's actually out of box, but it's been in play for a while. So I would say it's about 3,000. And then the last one is IQ Emerald. And you can see, because I changed surfaces and in course shapes, I don't change my favorite pin positions all that much. And I still have a pretty significant gap between how early the first ball of the UFO is and how long this IQ Emerald is. And this would be probably 3,000 polish, pretty much out of the box. Yeah, Kizro is right. It's the Zen is comes out of the box. Yeah, 1,500 polished. So that's where I got. And the idea between these is like each ball is approximately 3 feet longer than the ball before it.
Yeah.
There's been lots of people, and if you watch the last show, Stu in a rundown of people who have bowled good with Storm, Roto, and 900 global balls. The Zen has popped up on several lists, as well as there's been a 300 with a C4 playing them straighter on the doubles and singles. The intensity has been good for a few people that way too, mostly shined up and down in doubles and singles. Phase 2s, there's been a ton of balls. UC2s have looked good. And all those are in play for me. For me, because it's a smaller arsenal, there'll be less big ASIM balls down in the middle because the windows I can use them get a little bit smaller. They help, as asymmetry helps it pick up a lot more in the mid lane. But for me, that's not really I can get it to pick up. I need it to be able to continue longer. And so that's kind of how I'm setting up. But because of how watching my son bowl really good in doubles and singles throwing urethane, AJ Chapman and several others bowling very well in team event with urethane, there's a really good chance that my Booyah is going to go instead of the UFO as the heavy control ball. And I'll make a final determination today. but because basically I'm looking for the same shape out of those, if it ends up being, ideally, I probably would have sent both of them out or left both of them out there from when I was around for the World Series and those kind of things, and sent them up north from there, but I didn't. So I'll probably have to decide whether I'm going to take the UFO or take this. Based on Stu's experience, he felt like that just big balls by themselves and tricking with your hand didn't work as well as, particularly in the Bowler's Journal, as urethane did.
Yeah. If you want to do well at the Bowler's Journal, pretty much for the last 5 years, you've had to throw urethane. I think if I was looking at this, you might have a smooth ball too many from what we've seen. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I know that you very much prefer the smooth balls, so it makes sense for you. But it seems like those slightly cleaner, like when the Zen is working for multiple people in team, I'm not sure, like you're saying, you're going to get much use out of a UFO.
Right, and that's probably where the UFO will end up, because I don't think there's a real good chance of using it in doubles and singles. Guys throwing the C4, the guy that shot 300 there, he throws it harder than I can even throw it. And so to play it out, that's probably not likely. That surface has always had a little friction in it. And so I think there's a better chance of having urethane that stays in play on both patterns plus the Bowler's Journal, and then having the reality as my biggest reactive ball. And that covers all the bases. There's a fair chance that some of these balls don't go in and play much. If they hook a little bit too much, the reality, which is, obviously been a great ball, but it may not come and play at all. But I'll be covered either way.
Yeah, we've got a few people going through. Chris is bowling on 7th, 8th.
Yeah, the 7th at 8 a.m. team event, and then the 8th at 5 p.m. So,
somebody's asking me if I've seen Daria throw the Zen Master. I did see the video. I'm not really bothered about it because the ball doesn't come out for 2 months or 3.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a few months away from now.
Yeah, it's almost 3 months away. So we're not going to talk about that ball because there's so many other balls to talk about in the meantime.
Yeah, in the testing, I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be really good, obviously. But yeah, we're in a different era from that at the moment. There's a lot of balls coming up, and we'll actually show. I think we're going to show one of them today a little bit.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple of them, but somebody's asking about a 2-inch pin. You brought this upon yourself.
I did, and I like the C4, and I like it exactly like that when I want to use it in an arsenal. But my main goal is the Open Championships, and the Open Championships control. I can make a couple of balls go straighter, and the window for a 2-inch pin is pretty small, especially if I'm bringing urethane. That's kind of how I use a C4, or urethane is in that same slot as a C4. And then the ability to throw something like that PBR and be able to keep it online with a little more shape down lane. Those are all in play for me to play to the right. I just have to be a little bit better with my tools and rotations to make that work.
That's who Chris is bowling with.
Yes, it's Holiday Lanes 1 and 2, but yeah, really, it's the Fire Lake Bowling Center crew. So Chris Skillings he had knee surgery, had a little setback with his knee, and so he didn't feel like he was going to be able to give his guys his best go. Mr. Denny, who's in here a lot, Kevin, he's part of that group. Doc Doherty, Daryl Banks. I'm going to miss a lot of them off the top of my head, but a pretty good crew, and so pretty happy. I think we got a decent chance of, I think we can if we get it all together, it'd be ideal that if we got to bowl in the team practice session a little bit to get to know each other a little bit better. One of the advantages of having local teams is you know each other a little bit. You can make suggestions and help each other out along the way.
So Doyle Irons, he's going with 2 Outlaws, a Grenade, a Firestorm, a Sunstorm. Man, you better have some rev rate, Doyle.
I'm assuming, Doyle, you're probably two-handed and a little bit on the rev dominant side.
I've never seen Doyle. Doyle's a wrestler.
Oh,
he was on that other podcast, Sweep the Rack.
Oh yeah.
He was very entertaining. I have to give him that. Phase 2 Zen Axiom Pearl. Where would my Fitch Purple fit in? Well, it'd fit in right below those. I'm a little confused. Are you asking, Justin? Are you asking if you wanted to take one out? I mean, that would just be another tool. It's nothing like any of the other 4 balls you've got.
Right.
I would say that if you had to get rid of one of those, I would probably get rid of the Axiom Pearl, because I think that that's right in between the Zen and the Idle Synergy. So that would be the one that would have to be sacrificed in my mind.
Yes, I agree. The Phase 2 is a little stronger. The Zen's a little higher. I do like the Idle Synergy as well. I really like that clean ball. But the same as what Stu's saying, for me, that puts 3 balls that are a little too close together.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you could have Zen and Idle Synergy. I feel like they're far enough apart.
Yeah, I'd have to, if I didn't take a urethane ball and I skewed everything down that way, like you said, like you were talking about, there's too much hook. But every time I've gone that direction historically, and I went, oh, this place hooks, I don't need that ball that I can kind of trap, that becomes the thing to do. and
it's also a little self-fulfilling as well. If you don't make the ball, it's like for me, like I didn't have a UC2. Now I'm convinced that that's the only ball I needed. I might be right, but if I'd have had a UC2, I'd have probably found something else when I ball like an asshole that I could have convinced myself was the right one. So, I mean, somebody's talking about don't be scared of service with urethane on a short pattern. Yep, slap it on there.
Yeah, that urethane you saw there probably has 360 on it. Over time, I took one of the first times we bowled without the weight holes. I took one that had a gigantic weight hole in it, plugged it up, and so I was afraid it wouldn't hook. I put a brand new 360 on it. It might have been closer to 180, and then went to Shawnee, and I thought, oh my God, this will be awful, but I'm going to get it out of the way. And it was just fine.
Yeah.
And I use it a lot. When there's enough oil in the front for urethane, you almost can't have too much surface. It's just different than it was when we used it, in the 80s. There's just so much more oil on the lane all the time, and there's more friction down lane, so they still hook down lane.
Well, some of those urethanes, when you first got them out the box, they came pretty rough.
Really rough. And I think that's why there's a misnomer about how much surface is really on those balls, because they do that underneath grit where they have 180, 360 underneath, and then they go 1500 polished or 1500. Well, yeah, I mean, you took some of the little peaks right off the top, but there's some big mountains in there. There's a lot of teeth in there.
Jason says, is the intensity better out of box than polished? We both think that it's better polished. Stephanie Zavala, who's actually had tangible success with it, unlike me and Barnes.
Yeah, and Cooley shot 300. Cooley shot 300 with his, and his also was not. I do not believe it was dull. I believe he put a little bit on it as well. Although Cooley can throw
whatever he wants.
Yeah, he can throw 220 grit and get it down the lane. It's
and it says, how does it compare to the UC2? It does not.
The intensity is more forward.
Well, I mean, it's just completely different. One's a pearl cover with a really strong weight block. The other's a very mild asymmetrical weight block with a solid cover on it. They're like apples and oranges. They're just
really where they kind of fit is UC2 is kind of a medium. Like if you're setting up that 6-ball thing, for me, that's a medium angular ball. And I really like the UC2 also, but I like the Zen more. And so in that slot for me. Where the intensity is going to be more of that drier, maybe control ball. At least that's how it rolls for me. That PBR I've really liked that one as of late. And so it kind of went out in that same slot for me as well. I think you're on the right track, but those two balls can be complementary. They don't, especially if with a little bit of shine.
Baker said after you curbed your other team will leave.
I didn't curb them. It turns out those lifetime PBA members put the kibosh on that. So Barry Asher bowling his last event in 1978 made us not eligible because he's still a member as a Hall of Famer.
Look at that, clouds. Grrr. I think that's a pretty good Arsenal, Kevin. I'm assuming that you're probably going to throw spares with your Tropical Surge. I'm not sure how much use that's going to get on almost any of the patterns out there, but if it's basically your spare ball, I'm sure that's fine. But I think that's a fairly decent mix of balls there.
Yeah. They said that the Phase 2 Zen Axiom Pearl, those are all fairly close. And there's a fair gap between that and a Purple Hammer.
Yeah. I say, I certainly from what I've seen, I don't think that's going to be terrible.
Right. And use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people in that middle range. Eric Vermilya, who's a very good bowler, has had success for a long time there. Was in the Zen a lot. Chapman was able to throw a Phase 2 after he threw urethane early, which means there's plenty of oil in the lane because that's a fairly big ball as hard as he goes after it.
Yeah. William says, how did it feel bowling doubles and singles in the bowling center? It felt like going home at Christmas. I get good vibes in the bowling center. But a couple of people said it was hot. I was fairly chilled, so I didn't bowl very well, but it was nice to be back. There's another good one from Ray. He says, Reality Phase 2 Zen, C4, IQ Tour, Pitch Black. I mean, C4 and IQ Tour, I think, are one and the same.
They fit in some of the same gaps, but like you say, if you drilled a short pin on one of them and a taller on the other one, I think those can fit together. IQ Tour covers a little stronger than the C4. So if the surfaces are different, I think you can do that.
Can Axiom, Rubicon, Nuclear Cell, Zen, High Road Mix. Again, not a bad job.
Yeah, I think that's actually an excellent job. You got your heavy control, the Rubicon, a heavy angular, Nuclear Cell and Zen in the middle, and then the High Road as an angular, dryer lane ball.
Marquis says UC2, Zen, Axiom, GB4, and High Road Max. I mean, it's hard for me to tell, but the High Road Max in 16 and the Axiom, they both have the same cover. I know that the insides are very different, but unless you've got a monstrously high rev rate, I don't really think that's going to work very well for you. Yeah. I think the Axiom GB4 and High Road Max, I think you might only need one of those. But
yeah, they all kind of fit in the same spot. Zen and UC2 can play off each other.
Yeah. I like I say, I think if you had UC2, Zen, and then two of those three and one other ball, I think you might be doing better.
Yeah, I agree.
Reality, Axiom, Zen, Nomad Dagger, Nomad Solid, Pitch Black. Yeah, not bad. I mean, I don't think in today's market that the Dagger and the Solid are massively different. But Doyle's turned into a comedian. He says, is it bad when the only way you can get 10 in the pit is with a re-rack? So yeah, when you guys talk about the IQ Tour, is that the Nano Pearl? No, that's usually the IQ Tour.
Yeah, you have to be specific on those IQ Tours. So the IQ Tour we refer to as just the original black one with the red lettering. The Nano, that's the new one?
Yeah, the black one.
Yeah, actually, and That one looks like it's fairly aggressive. It looks quite a bit than either one.
For me, it's a little bit too cover dominant, and then I could see how it could be good for Ryan with a higher rev rate. So the weight block being a little bit weaker actually helps him. For me, I don't really spin it fast enough to notice, so the cover just grabs the lane, and then it doesn't flare as much as the other balls. So it just becomes a bit more nichey for me.
Yeah, it's still fairly angular when I've seen it, even though it is pretty early.
It's one or the other for me. If I shine it, it's fairly angular. If it's dull, it ain't angular at all for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we had some fun. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. The lefty in your household going for a 300 here with his new Zen. Comedy time with the pocket 4-pin.
Oh!
Wow.
Guy at the front 10, I flag 10, initially. This is actually a really, really good game. It's probably the most questionable shots of the whole game they're going to fight on. And,
this one wasn't questionable.
This one was not. This one was a handful right here. And posted it up like it was his job.
So had Troy shot 300 before?
He had not.
So that was really cool.
He had a 299 back when he averaged about 160, like four years ago. I mean, like completely out of the blue, and then hadn't been close since. And so, yeah, I think one of the most fun things in all of bowling is watching anyone throw their first 300.
That's pretty funny. The only difference is Troy's was somewhat close to the pocket.
Yeah, no, Troy's was actually he wasn't.
That was at Louisville, pretty damn good.
Yeah, that house is not the easiest place on the left, generally speaking. I mean, it's still a league shot, but it's not one of the places where we just get trounced by the southpaws regularly. So, but yeah, it was an awful.
Tina's put her 2 Penathin. Caveat: when you're not on Beef and Barnzy level, don't be available to take what you have most confidence in, even if it might not make the most sense. Axiom Pearl for her. There's a lot of truth to that.
Yes. Yeah.
There is a lot of truth to that. And there's also a bit of a jab at me because I told her that she shouldn't take that. I didn't see that made that much sense. And then she managed to shoot 730 with it after she shot 300 with her Zen. So she's kind of like,
those two balls do play off each other a little bit.
And that's the other thing. Like when you have a brand new Zen and a reasonably old idle Axiom Pearl, they're not necessarily the same.
Now, when Ryan throw them, they are very much different. So
Harold, good luck. I think you've got 3 pretty decent balls there. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, the Claw and the Money Badger are basically the same cores. You do have way different surfaces there, and the intensity is kind of in the middle. You have 3 different shapes there, especially if the depending on where your surfaces are on those 3 balls.
Hey Doyle, from what I've seen and what we've been pushing on the channel, I haven't really seen that much success with any of the really big balls. Chris is really more covering his bases rather than thinking. Like if he was to take the 6 balls that he thought would work, that would be a different 6 balls than the 6 balls he's going to take, so he has every base covered.
Yeah, and that's the way I set things up because I hate being there and then having no option. You know, okay, so I want to take a big ball and then like no hand it, throw it firm up the gutter.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you only take medium balls, you know, phase 2 doesn't do that necessarily the same way as one of those big covers.
It's also the advantage of having different releases. So Chris just wants a ball that's somewhat close, whereas another guy may want to have 2 or 3 balls in that one zone, because if that ball works, he's going to be having a good time. Whereas if he only has 1 ball in each zone, it might not help him anyway, because he can't keep it in play for as long. Having a large tool set allows you to be able to cover more bases with the balls as well, because Chris could use that emerald for way longer than maybe another guy could use it for. Is kind of the way I look at it as well.
Yeah, that's a ball that I don't think a lot of people probably necessarily need, but that's a ball that allows me to throw it slow, to grab at it a little bit, and it doesn't hook early, which covers me a little bit more on that doubles and singles place.
Okay, well, we got some new balls, so I'll give you just a quick little treat here of I'm bowling on my Sport League pattern. I'm bowling the day after, so there's been no end of lineage on it, and I guess I couldn't really keep track of who'd bowled on what, but I'm throwing the UFO alert, and I've got a comparison here with the UC2, and I've also got a shot with the dart code. If you want to see more from this session, head over to our YouTube channel or click the video that I'm going to try and put in the link somewhere around here, that of the dart code. So here we go. So my UFO alert is it's drilled a little stronger and a little shorter pin buffer. So I found it to be a little quicker response, and then it went a little more forward, I felt like. I felt like the UC2, and my UC2 is a little older, so it's obviously a little smoother anyway, but I felt like overall the UC2 was cleaner than all of them, which is kind of where I expected to fit. And then the dart code for me is probably the earliest and roundest. I was really impressed with the dart code yesterday. I bowled on this pattern. If you check out the YouTube video, you'll see I bowled one game uncut. I just put the camera on, I recorded it. Spoiler alert, it went pretty well. But I don't think it's that close to the original Code Black, but that doesn't upset me, because I think that the UC2 is already, for me, kind of close to the Code Black. It was a cleanish, pretty dynamic weight block that came off it really sharp. I think that this dart code is going to be a really good complement to the UC2. It's very smooth, and it's very smooth for a pearl ball. Like, so you can play angles with it, but I feel like it picks up the lane in a really nice spot and really continues. If you're looking for something that's maybe more like the UC2, just more of it, then I think that maybe you're going to be looking more at the UFO alert. That's much more, for me anyway, it's much more responsive off the spot. I just used them out the box. They're both shiny pearl balls, and I mean, I think 1,000 is quite a lot of surface to hit a dart code with. But that's just me. I've noticed in recent times that the shiny balls, starting with Axiom Pearl, Zen, those covers really hook now. And this new REX cover, it really picks up the lane pretty nicely, I thought, without putting surface on it. So I didn't really do it. Now, I've only used it for the one day, and I've only used it on this one beat-up lane. But that's kind of where it fit for me. I really like the shape of it. I've got to it's definitely going to be one that I feel like I'm going to use quite a bit, because I use the UC2 probably a little bit too much at the minute, trying to get it in play a little earlier with my hand and rolling it. And I feel like that this will be something that I can just throw and not have to think as much about, with what I'm doing with my hand to get it into play. I also feel like I was throwing it a little bit better because I've been messing around with my finger pitches, because I'm getting old and I don't have any bend in this finger anymore. It doesn't want to it doesn't want to bend anymore. So I've been with some prompting from Mr. Barrett. I have been adding a little more reverse at a time. So yeah, I got to a bit more away on that finger, and it seems I feel like I've got to a pretty good spot. I was throwing it pretty nice. So that's going to be what I'm going to be focusing on the next few weeks when we don't really have many tournaments going on. So yeah, if I haven't already told you, which I have, check out the video on YouTube of the dart code. It went up about an hour and a half ago. Let me know. Comment. What would you like to see it compared with? We're probably going to do. I'm definitely going to be doing some more videos. Storm would prefer it if we did comparison videos brand for brand. So maybe the parallax effect might be the one that I compare it with. I've got some footage filmed of the UFO alert that will be going up soon as well. Thanks, David. Also, if you don't like the music, let me know what you'd like to hear over the top. We had some heavy metal. Well, maybe not heavy metal, but certainly rock. What are you thinking, Chris? We can't hear Chris.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Thoughts on Nationals Arsenal. Pin down Rubicon and Zen. Pin ups UC2 and Synergy. Urethane and Spare Ball. Rev dominant. That's probably strong enough all the way across, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that maybe you're missing if you're rev dominant is is sort of like a ball like the PBR, like a lower end solid ball. But I mean, yeah, I'd certainly feel like that's a pretty good mix though. And that's going to be the thing when you only have 6. I mean, I say only 6, but when you have 6, there's always going to be a gap, and whatever your skill set is, that's where you're going to cover it, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, Coco versus Roseanne Barr. For those of you who missed last week's show, yeah, Coco singing the national anthem versus Roseanne, just in a much less famous place was all. And for those of you who did watch Tuesday, you saw what I believe to be not just the stat of the day, but stat of the year and potentially a much longer time frame. Stephanie Zavala, she has more titles this year than she has balls drilled on tour. For the first time in maybe 4+ decades.
Yeah.
2 titles, 0 balls drilled on tour. Yikes. Yeah, that's it.
No, you need your break point further right than that. I'd think more like 6 or 8.
For a team event? You felt like there was more friction out a little further to the right than maybe a little bit in the past. And that surface is fairly good.
Here we go. I'm trying to get you the hook up here. Tom Hess says, trying to get on the 4 p.m. squad at the bowlers, the BTM on Monday. I'd love to bowl doubles with you. Get a little bit of senior doubles action there, Chris.
That's right. Century. Get some Century awards going. So, yeah, the Bowlers Journal is dark on Monday. That makes it perfect. Once we go and get back and get a nap after bowling at 8 a.m.
Yeah. So there you go.
Sounds great. Shall we hear from our sponsor?
We can.
All right. Well, for those of you that are not in the immediate area and don't feel like working with me for $75 an hour, including lineage and video, what's an option for you?
Mark Baker here. Are you struggling with your game? Do you need another set of eyes? Is there that one thing in your game you just can't fix? Please let me help you. Go to markbakerbowling.com, click on virtual lessons, and follow the 3 easy steps. Remember, you can live anywhere in the world, and with virtual lessons, I can help you. Look forward to seeing your videos. Thank you.
Oh man, that might be the best lead up yet. I love the fact that you included video and lineage.
That's right. Yeah. Details. It's in the details. So I
don't know this time.
I believe the time when I'm there, there is an event that is there. Because originally it was dark like through the weekend and then Monday, Tuesday also. And then there was times I opened up on Tuesday and I haven't looked to see if it moved back to Monday or not. But I believe they have a big event at the Orleans. And so that means they don't have lanes.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's going to be dark in July because the TAT is there. That's another one.
Nice. Good bowling, Casey. All right. Well,
we have one last thing that I forgot to add. You know, we've got to give both the twins a little bit of love. Here's Ryan letting the dart code rip.
Yeah, pretty firm.
One more time.
My old tour roommate. He says he's going with the 2-ball. I don't, maybe a 2-ball roller with the Black Widow and the High Road Pearl. You throw it as good as you do, Brian. I guess you can throw whatever you want.
Yeah, he's definitely improving very quickly, Linda. That's for sure.
Yeah, he had that slow wheel going with that dart code for a little while. It's not afraid to hook. It hooked plenty. He had to firm back up a little bit, move right. For him versus reality on an older surface, reality blended it out a little bit. This ball was a couple left. I mean, he threw it harder and lofted it a little bit for it to only be 2 because it came off the spot harder. But for a shiny ball, for him, he doesn't throw very many of them because they don't pick up, and that ball did pick up in the mid lane. So early on, looks like a ball that's going to be pretty good. I know Chapman was really looking forward to it as well. They're everything that we're not. Right-handed and left-handed. We all want what we don't have. Now we have them.
I'm covering this one. There was never a definition of a true amateur because we always bowl for money. So the juniors aren't even amateurs.
No.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, it's been it's been real and it's been good. It just hasn't been real good. We will find out how Christopher gets on. You can buy that T-shirt right there that he is wearing at the Storm booth. Go and see Mark for all of your needs, whether that be a Beef and Barnzy shirt, which you definitely need, or a new ball, which you want, not need. Check it out. He's got some knowledge of what's been going on. He sees 500 bowlers a day go through there, so he can probably give you a better answer to what's been working for the majority than we can. Yep. We only hear necessarily what the super cool stories are. We don't hear what the normal, what goes on. And it's a good time. You go for the products and stay for the abuse when you go and see Mark. He'll keep it on the 100.
Yes. Yes, he will. He's one of my favorite guys in all the world, and he knows his stuff. He's one of the best ball drillers I know as well. So go see Mark the Booth. He's got jerseys, he's got shoes, he's got the whole deal out there. So he's pretty much got all the bases covered.
That's never going to happen. We can't agree on which ones we like now. Imagine if we... Me and Chris would so overthink that.
Oh.
Well, we don't really like it, but other people might like it.
Yeah, that's yeah. You've seen it turn out for Belmo, so
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, maybe we should wrap this thing up. We'll come back at you. It may be a little tricky doing the show next Tuesday, but we'll see how it all plays out. Again, support those small businesses out there and those bowling centers up and get through the summer. And when you get a choice, support the sponsors that support us. Storm, Rotogrip, Manor Global, Vice, Coolwick, 3D Shoes, Master, Bowlers Mart, Mark Baker Bowling, and Fire Lake Bowling Center. You got anything else, Stu?
Nope. Buy a t-shirt.
There you go. Till next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.
See you later.